right, y'all. We are back with another episode of the He Said, She Said podcast. And we got a special guest in the building. I'm Coach Cody.
I'm Nina Marie.
And I'm Brittnie Atkins, B.drayface on Instagram or at the B.drayface Instagram. And yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, talk about, and firstly, sorry, I am married, and I'm just super excited, I guess, about you guys' podcast, our ventures and everything, but I just got to talk about submission. I feel like men do confuse being submissive with being vulnerable, being open and transparent. And I know that's based off of our upbringing, like I don't know about you, I don't know about every person's upbringing.
Yeah.
But that's not something that is also taught too much and encouraged back in the day, back in our day. So I think when you're getting into a relationship and you're getting into a committed relationship, it's more so like, it's masculinity, and it's your how can I say, your ego that will get in the way usually when there is like a miscommunication or discrepancy. So
And I think those things clash, especially with men.
Mhm.
Like your ego versus the masculinity of it. It's like, this is messing with my manhood because I'm doing what she tells me to do.
Ooh. Do you think that, society has made men feel like once they get married, there is a way that you're supposed to be as a husband, and a woman putting her input is against that way?
Very much, very much. And also with us being millennials, we are taught, those things. And then now that we are adults, we've been through traumas. We've seen our parents, maybe have toxic situations or relationships. And it's just like, I don't want that.
Right.
In your subconscious, you're already like, I want to do better. I want to do this. And you don't know, unfortunately, until you're in that situation. And that comes from, um, not routine, but I guess, therapy plays a big part in it now. I'm just speaking from me. Me and my husband, we do have disagreements and things like that. But as an individual, at the end of the day, you got to work on yourself, or you're always going to be upset. You know what I mean? About something to where it could just be a small disagreement. And, one of those persons, they may not feel very comfortable being vulnerable, but understanding submission is power.
Yeah.
When you can submit, that's just an understanding. That's just more so of, I give a damn.
Right. I mean, my perspective on, what I just said was, I feel like, when there's a mindset that I think men are battling with, like, well, I'm the head of the household, so I'm supposed to take care of everything. And it's like, but you have a partner, but
And
you
that's
have a
not true.
helpmeet,
Yeah.
and it's like, why don't you use your resources? Like, I know my sister's husband. I remember asking him, like, what is God telling you in this situation? He was like, stand strong, something like that. And I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because it seems like, what stand strong means to you is taking care of everything, taking all of the burden, instead of like utilizing your help.
Yeah. And being strong too that's within love.
Yeah.
If I love you, you're expressing something to me, you know what I'm saying, that you don't love, that you're upset about, you're uncomfortable with, then that is the duty, that men could do too. That's submission goes both ways.
Yeah.
When you care. That's all.
I agree. I think you do the relationship a disservice when you try to take I'm not here to bash men
Mm-mm.
or anything.
Oh, no.
If anything, I'm hoping that we can free some people and some men that feel like I have to take all the responsibility as a man because this is what a man is supposed to look like. But it's like, you allowing yourself to just submit or yield, or get help from your wife can really save your marriage, can really, help your marriage to flourish. You may not be as, knowledgeable or gifted in a particular area, but your wife is. And here you are trying to take on all this burden and other burdens. And it's like, let your wife be gifted and let her take the lead in this.
And it's sexy. That's something that women love that. Like we love when a man can be the man. You ain't got to express that you're the man. You're the man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the man. I don't have to say I'm that baby or whatever. You just are. And that's something that women love. Like when you can be the man and do those things, but also like be soft towards her needs.
Sometimes being the man is being submissive.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that can be sexy because you told me, and something as simple as take out the trash. Like you took out the trash today. Oh my God, you just wait till you get back in there.
Those little small things. That goes a long ass way. That goes a long way.
Yeah, but to take it deeper, submitting to, like I always tell Nina all the time, if I was married and my wife told me what God told her, like if it was to pack up everything and leave, I need to be submissive to God enough to the point where if my wife said that, and I trust God in her, then we're gonna pack up and leave. And that to me is also being a man.
That's good.
That's true. That's a word.
Because just because God told my wife to, don't mean God gonna confirm it to me.
Right.
And I believe sometimes God will test the man. Like, well, if you really and you've been up here struggling for the past 6 months in the situation you're in, but your wife told you 9 months ago that God told y'all to leave. And God hasn't spoke to him because God already actually spoke to him through his wife.
Right. So I love that. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's whether, of course, I don't believe in submission. I ain't going to say before marriage, but I mean, if you know that, I was going to say whether or not you are married to a certain extent, you have to submit in a light. That don't mean y'all go out here and do these wifely duties for men who are not earning you, and they're not earning that. I'm saying when you're in a committed relationship, and you're certain of your direction, and you guys sit down and y'all have these kind of conversations.
And that is what a leader does. A team player. A leader is also a team player. I think a true leader knows that he can't do it all. And I gotta bring the Bible up in there. But I remember when Moses was trying to do all of the duties in his land, and he would be up all night having people come and whatnot. And his father-in-law was like, "Hey, why don't you assign people to help you?
Delegate,
because you're over here doing it all, and it's just not beneficial." And so that's wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So it's like same thing as a husband. If you know that your family has certain gifts, utilize your family's gifts, whether that's your children, whether that's your wife, whether that's your immediate family, so that you guys can be a community, that helps each other. You can't.
You're a team for real.
Exactly.
You work better together.
Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
So just listen to each other. And I don't know who could be going through something marital, relationship wise, but men especially, like you guys are the head, and we're looking. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at you like you're okay. We want to be led. Women do want to be led, but it's not with your ego. It's more so your heart. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's bitch a whore.
I'm just kind of processing what you guys are saying. I'm getting wisdom. But it made me think about. I saw this example where, when it comes to marriage, where the wife and the husband were beside each other, and I think in society that's what we automatically go to is like, my wife is by my side. I still lead, but she's by my side. You know. But the example they used said that when you become a union, your backs are against each other,
Okay.
and kind of
Like,
me,
like
me and
I'm,
you,
I'm,
like
I'm
I'm
like
this
I'm leaning
way.
on you and you leaning
Yeah,
on me.
ain't nobody
So,
fucking with you. Like, period.
Nobody can attack. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna see what's coming this way. I'm gonna see what's coming this way, and Nina's gonna see what's coming the other way.
Exactly. That's
But
exactly
in order
what it
for
is.
you to have that, you have to be a man and be humble enough to submit.
That's right.
Because at that moment, you're trusting your wife so much to the point where you can't see what's behind you. You just have to trust that
She
she got you.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. That's right. And when someone says something, it's like, you may not agree with it, or, you know, if your significant other is coming at you with, I don't know, anything, a concern or whatever that could be, that is not always basis for, I want to argue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like, okay, I need you to hear me out. And you can't really tell the other person that I'm not hurting you or I'm not doing this, you know, and it's not hurting you. If they're, you know, communicating or communicative enough to express that, you know, just there are healthy ways to listen.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna agree all the time. Again, it's not rainbows and butterflies at all. So, you know, it just takes work.
Yeah.
It's work in any relationship, you know, that when you have direction, I guess, when you're being led the right way, for
There's
sure.
two things that came to mind. You know, is that your wife is not your enemy. You know, you shouldn't look at her as the enemy, unless she is. But in this sense, in this context that we're
If she
actually
is,
talking
then why
about,
you still out, brother?
yes,
Time to go.
if she is.
Yeah.
But you know, in this context that Brittany's talking about, your wife is not your enemy, and you really need to be like, okay, there's a problem, but we're going to attack the problem together. And then when you were talking about, you know, you have direction. I heard you have to know who you are to know where you're going. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? You may not have the full scope or the full view of it, but you know, you have to know who you are and know what you're not. And if a man is lost within himself and within his own masculinity, it's going to be hard for him to lead a family.
That's very true. That's very true. And I just thought about a scripture too that was like, what was the husband loves the wife as he loves the church, as Christ loves the church. I think that all ties into that as well. Just refer back to that, not to be you know, too biblical, but yeah, like.
But see, I think what it is like, I don't think we know what love is.
Who's we?
In a general session, like, we don't know what love is. And a lot of people out here getting married and don't even know what love is. I heard somebody say one time, like, I can't truly love you unless I trust you.
That's true.
And I think that's deep because it took me back to the having my back situation. You know, like, how can I marry somebody and I don't know if they have my back? You know what I mean? Like, why would I even do that?
Yeah, you can't. I ain't gonna say you can't have love without it, but it's damn hard.
It's damn hard.
I mean, I think you can love them, but to me, it's like, I can't truly love you unless I trust you.
Right. But then when you're
I still got love for you, but I can't give it my all.
About, you know, we don't know what love is. Let's expound on that.
Okay, you know, I'm gonna go biblical, the easy way out. God is love.
Yeah.
You know, like, God already know we gonna mess up, but He trusts us enough to, like, I'm gonna let you go over there and do what you want to do. I already know what you're gonna do. You know what I mean?
I think God trusts Himself to take care of us. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, we will fail, you know, but I do feel like God is sovereign in the area that He will right all the wrongs how he can, you know. And when you're talking about, you know, knowing what love is, you know, sometimes, you know, in you learning, you know, how to submit or be walking in your masculinity or whatever. You have to also be okay to yield to the fact that, okay, I'm weak, but my God is strong. And, he'll help me, in this process, in my journey of learning how to, grow and take heed to wisdom, So
I mean, it can go a bunch of ways because, like,
Yeah.
uh,
But you definitely can't. It's hard. You can't really. I'm not saying, again, you can't have the element of trust. Like with love, there's trust. It's just like it goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? It is hard. That's something that is, especially if you've had your heart broken.
oh yeah.
Um,
There are practical things that you can implement in your relationship, to strengthen the trust between you two. But you guys have to be, like you said, willing to do the work.
You got to work, and forgiveness. That's something I'm working on within myself. I'm just true Taurus. I'd be like, bow, bow. Catch his hand.
Yeah, but let's talk about these practical things that you can do, when it comes to, building trust and whatnot, and learning how to love or whatnot. Like, you can't just, sweep things underneath the rug. You can't just, ignore stuff. Like, you really have to be intentional.
Accountable.
Right. You have to be intentional with, hey, what are we going to do to make, our situation much better? You know what I'm saying? And set a plan, get a plan together, and follow through with it. Don't just try to like ease back into like what you normally do. It's like, okay, I'm just going to go to work.
It'll never work.
No, like if you really want, this situation to work for you, you gotta put in the work.
Yeah, for sure. So, that's for sure. Therapy
yes,
works wonders. You guys, Black men. Yo, my therapist said she's never seen like so many Black men. Like she said, like 50, 60% of her clients are Black men.
Yes,
and that just made my soul smile. Like, again, that's something that we're not taught to do. It's often like, oh, don't go to the white people, or what they would call them, the lady.
Talking about Karen. Karen.
Yeah, they be saying Karen. The lady. I don't know. Yeah, and it works. It helps. Even if you can't save your relationship so much, you can save yourself, and you're learning how to heal because maybe you're not healed. A lot of people are getting in relationships and they're not yet healed, and those things have not been addressed. So therapy, man, God and therapy.
That's a good one right there. That's a good practical thing to do. What do you think? As far as practical ways.
I think the biggest thing for me is forgiveness. Like that in itself is hard alone. Just to be able to forgive, and not even it might not even be my wife, but I gotta forgive what my ex did in order for me to trust my wife.
How do you get to the forgiveness? What are some practical ways to get to the actual forgiveness?
I don't want to keep saying God, but you have to be willing to put a level of trust in God for your healing and forgiveness to take place. Okay. Because to me, it's like I listen to the guys I work with, and someone like don't even acknowledge God. I'm like, how do you live like this? You know what I mean? Like, and then when you look at their situations, they're cheating on their wives and all this other stuff. I'm like, well, and you wonder why your situation is the way it is.
But that's the thing. It goes back to, like you said, they don't know who they are. They don't know, and then they clearly don't know who made them, but,
I'm just, some men don't care. Some men don't care.
That's the point there too.
I'm just gonna, we
they're
know.
They're not ready to change.
And they just,
I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's that they don't care. I think it's that they've gotten so comfortable in it that it doesn't affect them in that way.
It hasn't caught up with them yet.
I think it's both. I think that there are some men out there that really just don't give a damn.
Narcissistic.
And they are so caught up within themselves, And then I also think that, there are, examples like that with what you're saying too.
Because it makes me think about a lot of these pastors who get away with all this stuff. I don't think it's that they don't care, because if they didn't care, they would expose it themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I've been cheating on my wife, so no, they're hiding it because they're so comfortable in it that it's like, I don't want this to get exposed. I don't want to reveal the fact that I'm a weak man. You know, I don't want to reveal the fact that I'm cheating on my wife.
Shame, guilt, all of that just, came to me when you're talking about those things. And we're back to and when you know who you are, you begin to make peace with your weaknesses. And meaning, like, knowing who you are means I know my weaknesses and I know my strengths. And, hopefully in the interim or in the middle of that, you can learn to accept that, hey, I'm not perfect or whatever. And, you got to be also, like, ready for accountability. You have to be ready for that. But you got some people who are like, I'm just going to keep on keeping on until I can keep on.
And that does help, like with forgiveness and like therapy. You plan all those things out in therapy. There are different exercises, and these are professionals, that can just add. They're talking to you. It was like having a conversation. Like, what do you think about this? Or why did you do that? Why? They're. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And it's a safe environment. It should be a safe environment. You know what I'm saying? Find yourself a safe environment to where you can, get the help that you need. I mean, we aren't the professionals. We over here in the journey with y'all. Right. Okay, we can only give you so much. We over here crawling ourselves in certain situations. Okay, but in a damn way.
Right. I mean, I'm just like, it seems like everything that we talk about kind of goes back to a previous episode. And I remember us writing down, at least I wrote down, creating a safe space, a topic about creating safe space. And I haven't been married, but you would want if anything, any relationship in your life, any situation, any connection, you would want that marriage to be that safe place.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like when you don't have that safe place within that marriage, you find safe places in other places. You end up holding things back because, like, I don't want to tell her I spent $50,000 because I know she's gonna be mad. But then that brings about him not being able to submit, her not being able to submit, and it brings about all these other issues when you could have saved all that by creating that safe space with each other.
And creating a safe space within yourself. Like, if you learn how to, create a safe space within your body and learning how, giving yourself compassion, giving yourself acceptance, giving yourself patience, to evolve and to grow, then hopefully that will also translate in your relationship too, because you're doing it for yourself, so you should be able to give it to, your other person.
For sure. I like, that's the word.
I told you, she's just a fool over here.
Both of y'all, just the gems. I mean, I don't think you have to be married. I think, I'm not gonna say it's plain and simple, because
I mean, it is,
word.
but everybody don't have common sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And people don't have patience. People are in these situations and they don't have enough faith in the first place, and then they get so frustrated and angry, and they're just like, "Oh, fuck it." And I think that's why divorce rates are so high, because the first issue or that first hump, it's like, we can't do this. I can't do this. And they just, so that is important.
Yeah, I mean, we could continue to go on, because I'm like, it made me think. Remember when we talked about the difference between a covenant and a contract? A marriage is a covenant; it's not a contract. And I think that's the issue. Like, we've confused what it really is. When you sign a contract, it's like, look, I really don't care if I break this contract, because all I'm gonna be losing is the marriage and you. I can still move on with my life, but a covenant is saying, no, nigga, you got to submit to this. You're gonna have to lose out on this. You might have to sacrifice this, but you made a covenant, and you're in this until death do us part.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that though? Like divorce and do you think that every situation should be to death do us part?
No, I don't. I think I'm just gonna speak from me. When infidelity comes into play, I don't think I could withstand that. On top of everything else that you deal with in a marriage, in a relationship, because you're gonna lose your job, you're gonna lose people. People are gonna, pass away. You're gonna go through hardships. God forbid. I'm just saying those are things to work through. That are worth the work and the stuff. But to me, again, infidelity is a no. I'm out. I'm a boutie. So, no, I don't think so. And if it's a toxic situation, if they're like just a toxic person, they're
emotionally abusive.
It doesn't always have to be infidelity. There are so many other things. And then too, like when it comes into terms of you not listening and taking heed of what your partner is saying, like you don't care, that too that's emotional abuse. Who? I don't know. It just depends, like, because people have traumas and things that have happened before a relationship. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't know those things, but when you're expressing it and nothing's happening, you don't see the movement, you don't see the growth, then yeah, why what is it called? Prolong the agony.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm definitely traditional in the sense that, when you do find your person, try your best to go through thick and thin and till death do you part. I believe in that. But I also do believe in self-preservation because, as much as we try to keep a covenant, the greatest person who can do that is God. And sometimes we think we have the capacity to walk with somebody and we really don't. It's going to make us go crazy.
Yeah.
And, I've been in that situation in my life where I tried my best to keep the covenant, with people or keep, the relationship going and trying to fight for the relationship and stuff. And I almost lost my mind, yes, almost goddamn killed me.
It'll kill you.
And I don't think that you should jeopardize yourself to that. You're losing yourself. You're literally slowly or quickly withering. No, definitely
not fair.
It's not. Especially when you're communicating and you go years and years and nothing's changing.
Yeah.
I think you're detriment to yourself and you dishonor yourself by not choosing yourself by saying, this is not even healthy to me. Mine and all. So let me do what's best for me. Let me release back over to God, who can better walk with them than I can. And then if God brings us back together, great. If not, it's cool.
Yeah. You gotta do what's best for you. You just have to do what's best for you. At the end of the day, you got one life.
One life.
Choice.
Okay, I think people will be fine. It takes work.
This was a lot. It's a lot that I
It's a lot
took.
to
Yeah. A lot. But I think if I could take away anything, you gotta be willing to put in. And the work might be different for me than it is for others. Mine might be trusting, it might be forgiveness. So you gotta be willing. Whatever your work is, you gotta be able to work on that.
Well, that concludes this episode. You guys